Welcome to the very first 100 days on the Rampy channel for Ark Survival Ascended, the gorgeous Unreal Engine 5 remaster of Ark Survival Evolved. To mark this occasion, we are starting off with a classic, a challenge that has been conquered before, but with a lack of cryopods and other engrams, this challenge would be way tougher than ever before. I would have 100 days of Ark Survival Ascended to take down 2 of Ark's Guardians with Just Raptors. To spice things up a little bit this time, my good friend, editor, and fellow YouTuber Owen here is going to be playing on the exact same server and joining me in this challenge using only trikes, so expect to see a fair few cameos from him towards the end of this video. As always, if you do enjoy the video, please do help me out by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. An awful lot of hard work does go into these videos, so I do hope you all enjoy. Oh, and also come give me a follow on Twitch so you can watch these challenges live. As we spawn in on day 1 here, in a brand new world, we started our 100-day journey by gathering some berries and punching a tree to get those precious early game resources. I applied some levels, and with this playthrough featuring the movement speed nerf that Ascended launched with, I found myself debating what stats to level. I eventually went with a heavy focus on health, weight and fortitude, as I prepared myself for the early game grind. I made myself a nice little stone pick so that I could farm the trees quicker, and then unlocked some more crucial engrams that I would need, such as a hatchet and campfire. After hitting some more rocks for some flint, I unlocked a full set of cloth armor and made up what I could, just to give myself a little bit of extra protection. My early game plan was to just sort of run around the map a bit and do some exploring, while making those early game engrams such as bow and arrows. Keep in mind that at this stage the game had just launched, so I was simply enjoying exploring the island, despite it looking so completely different. After shooting a dodo in the head, I gratefully gave his dead body some smacks with my stone hatchet to farm up his hide. I then split all the meat that he gave me so that it would spoil into some spoiled meat, which I would use to make some narcotics. After reaching the edge of the snow biome, I unlocked both the thatch foundation and mortar and pestle. After waiting a short while longer for the meat to spoil, I then made up some narcotics, which I immediately converted into trank arrows. I had come to the snow biome as I had always remembered this spot being full of hostile tames, Raptors included. However, as I reached the spot that I had always known to myself as Alpha Corner due to its common alpha creature spawns, I barely recognised where I was. I also couldn't find any raptors, but it wouldn't be long before something else nasty found me. This area is normally teeming with raptors. Where are they all? Why are they just herbivores? This is where we are on the map, by the way. As you can see, I've not even explored every inch of it. What's attacking me? Whoa! Ah! Oh, what the? Am I being hunted? What? Where have they come from? Oh! Ah! He jumps! Ah! Oh! After being mauled by hyenodons, I eventually managed to get back to my bag and grab my stuff. I had already decided that the snow biome wasn't for me. As it was nighttime anyway, I had to make up some hide armor to help me survive the cold. With no raptors in sight, I fled the snow biome and went inland, where of course the raptors came along like London buses. Luckily, the bowler god was on fine form, and I managed to get all 3 bowlered while I knocked out the level 75, which was the highest level of the 3. Unfortunately, due to doing all of this with a primitive bow, it wasn't long before the raptors began to break out from their bowlers, and before I could finish KOing the 75, an unusual bowler miss for myself meant that it wasn't long before I was getting pummeled into the grave, all while Helena Walker read me a lovely explorer note. Respawning in, the raptor had seemingly left the scene of the crime, and I was able to recover my stuff at least. An even greater bonus was that the level 75 raptor had actually fallen unconscious after all, and most likely while I was being eaten. I put some raw meat inside it, and before long we had our very first raptor. I named it Humongous W to mark the special occasion of finally getting our very first raptor of the challenge. Obviously it was a pretty low level one, and would never ever be considered a breeder, but it would allow me to traverse the map a little bit easier in search of more raptors. After travelling through the night and finding no decent raptors whatsoever, I ended up making my way to South 2 Cave, where the artifact of the hunter is stored. Now, quite simply, despite the fact that I knew I wasn't prepared for caves yet, I just wanted to check one out and see what they'd done to this cave on ASA, and it did certainly look a lot better than it did on Survival Evolved. I decided to come down on into the cave, where I stumbled across a green cave drop, something that would be really important for me later down the line, as these drops are your very best chance of getting a good raptor BP. As I'd made it this far and hadn't encountered any hostiles yet, I foolishly decided to jump down and have a pop at getting the artifact. Clearly, this is where all the spawns have been hiding, as I took out a few hostiles outside the artifact room, but upon entering the room where the artifact of the hunter is, I found myself making a very hasty retreat due to the serious number of Arthropluras in there. A sane person at this point probably would have just made a run for it, but I soon realised that I was surrounded on all sides, so after kiting the Arthros out of the pit, I attempted to go back in and get the artifact before leaving through the back door.
Oh, run! This do be trouble. Hi guys, don't mind me, just making my way through here. Please die. Please die. Please die quick. Please die quick. Please die quick.
As day 4 dawned, we were back to square one. My body was in the depths of the cave and not recoverable whatsoever, but honestly, we hadn't lost too much progress, as I had spent a lot of my time exploring this beautiful new reincarnation of the island. After respawning, I decided to do things a little bit differently this time, and set up a base on the South Metal Mountain, where I could quickly get access to metal. This went pretty successfully as I got myself up some refining forges, a smithy, and mortar and pestle relatively quickly. I made myself a crossbow to make taming raptors that little bit easier, before running down the hill and encountering a Troodon, who apparently can jump even when bouldered. I did manage to kill the Troodon thankfully before I passed out from the torpor, and after waking up I harvested some hide from the beaches, before returning to base to make myself a metal pick and hatchet. It was now time to return to raptor hunting. While there is no problem with finding raptors on the island, finding high level ones on this map was proving a huge task. I was yet to see one over level 100, so honestly I was just happy to tame up this level 85 one for now. I named it after a member of my Twitch chat, and this is your first friendly reminder to come on over and follow me on Twitch so you can see these challenges live. With a level 85 tamed and me finally back on a dinosaur, I continue to hunt around for raptors. Like I said, I could find lots of raptors and the green obelisk area was teeming with them, but I just lost count of how many level 20 and under raptors I'd found by now. Just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, my arch nemesis made its long awaited return to the channel.
Because you shouldn't really be... The prodigal son returns. The Microraptor is back. That would not have been Oh! Oh! I think Kaya the Raptor might be dead.
No! You're joking me.
Kaya's gone. Kaya was gonzo.
After witnessing my raptor getting slaughtered just as I reached it, I had to go out and find myself another raptor. This time it didn't actually take me too long to find this level 110 raptor, which is the highest that I'd found so far. I managed to knock it out all while skillfully avoiding all the Meganuras who wanted to kill me, and then killed a snake to get some prime. When tamed, I made myself up a saddle, as I had forgotten to take the last one back, and then rode out of the swamp and forest, back down to the beach. I had had quite enough of Microraptors for one day. I decided to make myself a raft, and raft over towards Carno Island, as Carno Island normally has quite a lot of raptor spawns, and I wanted to check out what they had done to the cave also. Sadly, all the raptors on the island were absolutely terrible levels, so I made my way inside Carno Cave, which has had a pretty nice redesign, it has to be said. I've been quite openly critical of Ark Survival Ascended in many ways, but I do think that we can all agree that they have done a pretty great job at redesigning all of these caves, as they look so much better than their originals. Inside Carno Cave, I had to fight off a combination of bats and the mega rabies that it gave me, but it was all worth it to see what was in this magical looking red drop right next to the entrance.
Ooh. Oh, hello there. That's not bad.
A pre-made Ascendant Longneck with over 300% damage was a lovely find, and back on the island I tested its power out on a wild Argentavis and was very impressed with its results. It was pretty clear, however, that I did not have the capabilities to run Carno Cave, and nor were there any decent raptors on the island, so I popped back on my raft and headed home for the day. I was about to bring an end to both day 8 and a decent stream when thoughts of vengeance came into my head. I stupidly decided that with this slightly more powerful raptor, I would have a shot once again at South 2 Cave.
We're about to take a humongous W. Look at this. We're on our bike. We're running past the Arthropluras. Oh, there's a lot of them. I forgot how many Arthropluras are in it. We're running. Oh, there's more. I might have underestimated the cave.
It certainly does feel like caves have been made quite a bit tougher on ASA, as previously I would have always cleared these on a raptor or even on foot. This time though, there was no luck and another raptor was lost. I was, however, at least about to make one of the plays of the century.
If anyone gets Larry, I'm popping them in the head with a long neck. You want some? See you later. How are you not dead? How are you not dead? Oh no. Oh no. It's not looking good. Look at those dodging skills. Oh my god. He's a man on a mission. He's still alive. He's still alive. How is he still alive? Uh-oh. He might not be alive much longer.
Somehow I did make it out of Hunter Cave alive, saving the Ascendant Longneck, but it certainly was not my finest hour, as that was the second raptor that I'd ran down mid in that cave in a number of days. Back at base, I had no choice but to recoup my stuff and go again. I split some meat, filled the forges, and made up some narcotics before heading back out into the jungle, where I stumbled across this level 100 raptor. Another raptor that was nowhere near good enough to be a breeder, but would at least allow me to have a dino to ride about on for now. Interestingly, this raptor had a baby with it as well, so after taming up the parent, I went ahead and claimed the baby. The problem with baby dinos is that because they get no bonus levels when they grow up, meaning that this was far weaker than the tamed parent. Eventually my chat and I decided that we would set this raptor free, so after naming it Jason Derulo, we let him ride off solo into the sunset. The rest of that day I spent travelling around the whole map looking for high level raptors, and finding absolutely nothing. The low levels of dinos were really starting to get to me, which was not helped by the fact that Owen had already found several 150 and 145 trikes. So as we passed the day 10 mark and I exhausted all ideas, I ended up finding myself returning to Carno Island once more, as there would surely be some guaranteed raptor spawns on there at least.
20. Oh, what are these levels? I'm losing my mind.
Sadly though, while there were some raptors on Carno Island, they weren't any good either. I did loot another red drop in Carno Cave, which had some decent potential blueprints for the later game, but certainly nothing that would really help me now. With Carno being another monumental flop, I set sail on my raft again and headed home for a break. The next day I logged in, farmed up some metal to keep the doctor away, and headed off to Crags Island to search for raptors. This time I managed to hit the jackpot, finding not only a level 145 raptor, but also a 125 in the same pack. Things were really looking up and I was finally making some progress. After taming them up, I inspected their stats. Now, while I could be wrong on this one, I'm sure that raptors must have had some potential nerf to damage points on ASA, as 342% in damage is 49 points. At this time, however, I hadn't got my Ark Smart Breeder set up yet, so I just looked at this raptor as another very average tame. Perhaps a critical error. Anyway, with my Raptor army all tamed up, I had finally achieved my first pack, and I finally felt powerful. I wasn't happy with this stat though, and we weren't even mate boosted. Sadly, the hunt still had to continue. I returned to Alpha Corner to scout out some raptors, and while I did finally find myself a raptor here, instead of it being a max level one, it was instead the lowest level possible. Don't you just love the island's levels? As we left the snow and entered inland, I was quickly realising something. Raptors had seriously been nerfed. Wildcard were clearly long-time fans of the channel and had seen the last 100 days that we'd done with raptors, and this time they decided to up the challenge. The main reason that they had been nerfed is due to this headshot multiplier that tamed creatures now have. Due to raptors' height, they seem to be taking the extra damage from almost every hit, and I found myself constantly force-feeding them. This was no more obvious when we ran into a wild Ferrazino.
Oh no! Get him, raptors, get him! Raptors! Does that say 205 damage? No! Johnny! Uh-oh. We've just been mauled. What? We've just been absolutely destroyed.
So after the latest Rampy disaster class, we were back on our adventures with my lone raptor. I continued up north again, found some more raptors. Said raptors were obviously a terrible level, which meant I ended back up on Carno Island, looking for more raptors once more. To no one's surprise at all, the raptors on Carno were absolutely terrible also. Just as I was about to close my stream for the day, I did manage to find myself a 130 raptor to tame near Green Obelisk. It wasn't anything special, but it was better than nothing at least, and would provide me with a little bit of protection at least. Well, it would have provided me with a bit of protection if I hadn't unexpectedly ran into this monumental pack of raptors just around the corner. This sole pack of raptors had obviously been claiming all the high level spawns on the whole island, as it had both a 135 and 140 in the same pack. Unfortunately, due to being ambushed by them and obviously desperately trying to keep the 135 and 140 alive, we may have had to sacrifice the poor raptor to the Ark gods. At least with my raptor out of the way, it did become a little bit easier to manage shortly after, and I knocked out the 135 first, which actually had better stats despite being lower level, and I then went to KO the 140. This all went smoothly, only for a Spino to have wandered over to where the 135 raptor is. At this point, it really felt that I couldn't catch a break, as I sadly watched the Spino devour my poor taming raptor from across the river. We did get the 140 tamed up, but it was terribly average, and it was no stats worthy to start a breed line. Incredibly though, a matter of minutes later, I stumbled across our very first 150 raptor. Clearly every single high level raptor on this map was found hanging around in the south. This one appeared to be on his own, which made the whole taming process a piece of cake. After knocking him out and waiting for him to tame up, I saw that he had finished with a semi-decent melee stat of 46 points, which was still a full 2 points lower than the 145 that I had previously tamed on Crag's Island. RIP to them. Now, on Ark Survival Evolved, 46 points would of course be a great point to start your breeding line, but due to ASA removing the wasted points put into movement speed, 46 was just a strong starting point. I returned to my mountain setup with my raptors, where I farmed up some metal and repaired my gear before heading back out again. Of course, I couldn't go past that artifact to the Hunter Cave without dipping my toe in there, but fear not, this time I wasn't quite stupid enough to go for the artifact. Instead, I just went after these green drops which spawn in the cave, as I mentioned earlier, these are the best chance of getting ourselves a beastly raptor blueprint, which especially with this bonus headshot damage would certainly be needed. I did have to take out quite a few hostiles to get to these drops, with the Arthroplora in particular providing quite the resistance and almost killing me. After just about surviving and doing a small amount of force feeding, I looted the second drop, which sadly didn't have anything too much use to me, although I was encouraged to see how good the dolphin saddle blueprint was. There are 3 drops at this cave in one time, but had I gone any further, then we would have certainly lost a third raptor to this cave, and I wasn't about to let that happen. Leaving the cave, I headed up north and spent the rest of the day searching for raptors. I did manage to find a 145 who I bowlered and tranked out. Unfortunately, what I didn't realise was that it had an angry Bronto after it, so upon knocking it out, the Bronto began to whack it with its tail. Thankfully, I did manage to grab the Bronto's aggro, and about 4 years later, finally killed it. I would of course now have to let the raptor wake up to recover its taming effectiveness, so I farmed up some stimberries and then fed them to the raptor. I then just had to wait by its side for it to wake up. Its base health stat was decent enough, so I was fairly excited for this one. Sure enough, just as it woke, the bowler god himself was there waiting for it, and a couple of trank darts later, and it was out. I grabbed some prime meat for it, and it was already starving, so tamed up instantly. The health stat was decent, and I was happy enough to start a breed line now, so I headed home. Besides, I was absolutely fed up of hunting raptors. However, nothing could quite prepare me for what I was about to run into on the way home. Oh wow. Raptor Mafia over here. Oh my god. Did you guys see that? Level 95. Yeah, 145. Oh, it's the 145. No, I don't think I've done enough to knock it out. I don't think I've done enough to knock it out. Oh. I've run out of trank darts. How? Have that! The hunter strikes again. Sully is almost dead, but we don't talk about that.
He's done. He is done. It's naughty. It's a naughty HP. What are we saying? What are we saying, guys? I've lost my head. Export dino. What are we saying? Well, the last one was it's got to be like 50 points, right? 52 points in HP. Oh, it's insane. Stay away from me, Ferrazino. Come anywhere near me. And you'll regret it. You will regret it.
With a massive 52 points into HP secured and 46 into melee, it was now time to finally settle down and pick a base spot. I opted for this cliff top base spot, which had a lovely view of Stonehenge around it. It was hard to pick a base spot that was ideal for everything. Ideally, I did want metal nearby, but my go-to spots, such as the Hidden Lake and Herbivore Island, had already been used in my previous playthroughs of Raptors, so I decided to settle for this spot. The view was nice at least, and the metal wasn't too far away. After picking my spot, I then started to place my starter wooden foundations and some wooden gates around the outskirts of my base to close it off. Those long-time fans of the channel will know that I am not the greatest PvE builder, so don't expect to see any building masterclasses in this 100 days. That night, the weather finally turned cold enough so that I could hatch my raptor eggs, which at night time could be hatched even without an egg incubator. When the first of these baby raptors hatched, I kept the females and named them 00F, as these would be my female mutation breeders that I would use for the entirety of this challenge. While they grew up, I took a quick visit to the old mining base, where I grabbed some smelted metal ingots and brought them back to base. Using this ingot, I made myself a smithy at the new base and placed it down. The breeders were now good to go, so I set them on mating as I quickly wanted to pump out some more raptors and look for some mutations as quick as possible. Without the egg incubator and awesome spyglass mod from past playthroughs, this would be a lot more painful this time. I also wanted to check out how the new water system on ASA worked, as if you didn't know, all pipes and wires have been removed. All I had to do was place down an intake and then place the water reservoir up at base, and just like that, I had irrigation. This was a big relief and quite a nice quality of life feature, I have to say, as in ASE, I sucked bad at placing pipes. Along with the 00 females, I also raised up a fair few what I would name sacrifice raptors. As you might have guessed by the name, these were raptors that I didn't care if died, but that I could whistle into hordes of enemies in caves without worrying too much about what the outcome was going to be. Sorry, raptors. After saddling them up and applying a few levels to them, I named them after my Twitch chat and headed down into the caves. The first cave I went to was obviously the southern cave just below my base, which had of course already claimed 2 of my raptors' lives. We entered the cave with the new squad following closely behind, and I looted the first room's drop. It did have a good amount of items, but sadly the hunt for a raptor blueprint continues. We cleared out the hostiles in the second room, grabbed the second drop, which had a scorpion saddle but nothing else of note. The last drop did give me an ascendant trike saddle, which I would of course give to Owen when I next bumped into him. After returning home from the cave, I set off on my raft to the snow biome to look for some pearls. Now, I'm not quite sure why, but wildcards seem to have removed the edge of the west coast snow biome, being a hotspot for pearls. I struggled to find any at all, and the most fun I had was recreating this scene from Jaws, when this megalodon appeared out of the murky water to ambush me. In the whole time I spent on the west coast, I found 1 set of silica pearls. It appears the deep ocean is where it's at to farm pearls only from now on, which isn't exactly ideal when all you have at your disposal is raptors. Anyway, I had gathered just about enough pearls to make myself some electronics to make an air conditioner, but back at base it was now nighttime, so eggs were once again hatching without an AC. I hatched and claimed the raptors, keeping some of the females for 00s once more. It wasn't too much longer until we got our first mutation of the challenge, which was a melee mutation, which of course was a slightly bittersweet feeling, knowing that I had technically already had this stat before, only to lose it to a wild Ferrazino. I kept on breeding through the night, raising a few more raptors for sacrifice, and checked on South Cave again, as the drops had respawned, and the raptors had healed up a bit. The drops didn't offer me much, getting a second scorpion saddle blueprint of the day, but still no luck on the raptors. This time I decided I wanted to go all the way though, and try and grab our first artifact of this challenge. To my surprise, the whole ordeal wasn't actually too much drama. I kited the Sarcos out of the water lair and set the raptor squad on them, who quickly took them out. We then crossed the Sarco-free water, taking out a few piranhas who fancied a scrap on the way. On land, we dealt with a horde of hostile creatures, and the raptor pack made short work of these. Last up was the artifact chamber, which aside from a couple of Aranios, appeared to be actually unusually empty for once. It wasn't long before I was jumping off my raptor and finally gathering our first artifact of this challenge, which is of course the artifact of the hunter. On my way out of the cave, I looted one last drop which had respawned, but the agonising wait continued for the raptor blueprint, as this drop offered me up a Sarco saddle blueprint instead. Back at base, the mutation grind was kicking into full gear now. However, I wasn't having any luck at all. As always with the mutations guys, they are based on pure luck, and sadly on this challenge, I wasn't having much of it. This made finding that all-elusive saddle blueprint all the more important, as I was struggling to see how these raptors would survive the boss fights with the current stats and primitive saddles. In fact, I got so bored from the whole mutation grind and not getting any luck, that I decided to go pure Craven the Hunter mode on this Alpha Raptor, and started taking it out with my Ascendant Longneck. This was actually pretty profitable in the end, as I got myself a better crossbow, which I would then use to kill babies, as well as a better metal hatchet and metal pick. I then had to take another trip to the snow biome to get more silica pearls, but didn't have quite enough electronics to make myself the air conditioner just yet. Luckily, I did only need to find one section of pearls. I then dashed back to base and crafted our air conditioner, placing it down and powering the generator as soon as I could. Quite frankly, this was something that should have been done far earlier than day 40, but as I had been able to hatch raptor eggs at night time, I had been putting it off. Clearly, the new aircon though brought some good luck with it, as in my first batch of eggs, I managed to get myself a lovely little melee mutation. To be totally honest, I was hoping for some health mutes at this point, but I wouldn't say no to a melee mutation either. The only slightly annoying thing about this mutation was that it was on a female, so I'd first have to raise the raptor and then transfer the stat to a male, where I could continue to mutation breed. While the raptor raised at base, I went to check out the cave below base once more for green drops, a pretty familiar sight at this point, but I was still yet to find the raptor blueprint, which was really the only thing these drops could give me that was of interest to me. And for the next 10 to 15 days, this was just the way I had to play the game. I would hatch raptors, kill 90% of raptors as they didn't have a mutation, and then go down to the cave to check the drops. Mutation grinding isn't the most enjoyable thing in Ark in the best of times, but when you are having no luck at all, it becomes a real slog. My mood was given a slight boost that evening though, when I returned to the cave and got myself, while not a raptor blueprint, a raptor saddle. I would take that for now, as at least one of my raptors would be properly protected with a nice little saddle. With the new saddle in hand, I named up a couple of raised raptors after my Twitch chat and set off to do some caving. I would meet Owen there for our very first cave together, which would be the Artifact of the Massive. Both of us would have to gather every artifact before we could take on the bosses at the end, so we would work together to make this happen.
Ah, here he is. The big man. The big man. Right, we're gonna invite him to the Raptor Trike Alliance. I think it's... There we go. He's in. Is his trike saddle? I'm guessing. Oh, look at these. He's got us some raptor saddles. What a man. What a man.
Owen had shown such commitment to the cause that he had actually set up an aircon station in the massive cave to hatch a trike inside so that he could join the party, and his damage would certainly be needed as we encountered our first group of hostiles.
Uh-oh, Raptor Army, go! Raptor, go, Owen!
Go on.
Is that 390 damage I'm seeing?
Was that a head? That must be a headshot.
Yeah, that must be you headshotting Sorin. What is this?
I'm only taking 9
398
damage to my face.
Yeah, look at my damage. Meanwhile, half my raptors are probably in the lava by now. Oh, there's a blue drop down there. Now, this might turn into disaster. This close to the ledge. Oh, no. Not Beastly Raptor. Beastly Raptor, no. No. Oh no, he's gone.
Oh.
He's gone.
No.
Oh, Beastly Raptor. R.I.P.
Despite losing Beastly Raptor the legend himself, we continued on down the cave. We then reached a section of this cave where you have to jump over a cliff to the next one, which wasn't the most trike-friendly thing. So I naturally encouraged Owen to risk it for a chocolate biscuit and perform a charge attack in an attempt to make the trike get over.
Mate, I'm not risking that. There's lava underneath. I'm just going to go fall over to the path down the bottom.
I feel like the chat would love to see a charge there. Beastly Raptor. Oh, he's going for it.
I don't think I'm making it.
Go on! Go on, Owen!
Wow. Oh no.
Yeah, to be fair, it could have
But I'm
ended.
down here.
It could have ended a lot worse.
Owen went the long way round and we met up a couple of minutes later, where we looted a yellow drop. Despite it being a new cave and new quality drop, I was absolutely still haunted by hide blueprints. The artifact was next up, and we kited all the onyx that were guarding it over to Owen's trike, who destroyed them with the increased headshot damage. We then headed over and Owen grabbed his artifact of the massive. While I waited for it to spawn back in so I could grab one myself, I was forced to go around this side of the cave to take out the creatures that were guarding this yellow drop, as the trike couldn't fit in this side of the cave. The Raptor's damage without mate boost and pack buff was absolutely pitiful, as I had left the other Raptors up in the earlier section of the cave, so I didn't have to jump them all over. After a short while, I did manage to take all the creatures out and looted the drop. It wasn't necessarily anything special, but the Ascendant Ghillie was at least something that was usable for me. The artifact had now respawned, so a couple of terrifying jumps over the lava later, and I was looting my very own Artifact of the Massive. Next up, while on the high, we decided to take a visit to Carno Island and return to Carno Cave. Owen didn't actually have a trike bred in this cave yet, so he thought he would just come along for the ride to see how the raptors got on. The first challenge I had to face was getting all the other raptors to the side of the water section, which was proving quite tricky. For some reason in Ascended, it feels like dinos don't follow as well underwater, which I guess might make a bit of sense, as I can't imagine the raptors enjoyed the swim terribly much. Anyway, after a little bit of time, we did manage to get them all through the water and into Carno Cave. Now, Carno Cave has been made a fair bit deeper on ASA, but as always with the Rampy channel, there is only one proper way to do this cave, which is to dive headfirst down to the bottom of the cave and jump off your raptor just before you take full damage. It was pretty crazy down here, and it seems that they have definitely increased cave spawns in all the caves to be honest, and Carno Island was no different. I'm honestly fine with the increased difficulty, and with almost every single bat giving you mega rabies as well, it really does add an element of difficulty to think about. Thankfully, Owen had given me some antidotes in the last cave, so I was able to nullify the effects of the rabies. As always with this cave, getting the artifact is only one half of the problem, with the other half being actually getting out of the cave, something I was about to struggle with.
Wow. Ow. Bit rude, that Megalania. Very rude, in fact, some would say. Hang on. Are they not on neutral? Raptors, what are you doing? Some reason... Oh, no, no! Oh. Oh. Patrick Star, I'm afraid you are being sacrificed. Right, let's go. Blob snail! What are you doing? You absolute buffoon!
Eventually, after something the chat have now named Rampy Nonsense, we got all but one of the raptors out of the cave, as Patrick Star was left to die at the bottom of the cave. This is perhaps the perfect moment to remind you all to leave a comment in memory of Patrick. With the remaining raptors, I swam back out of the cave and back to land once more. I then spent a good chunk of the next day rafting home before finally getting a bit of luck with the mutations and getting our very first HP mute of the challenge, which was something at least. As you can see by the fact I named the raptor in all caps Health Finally, I was feeling mighty relieved to get our first HP mutation. I then made myself up some scuba tanks, as Owen and I decided it was time to take on one of our toughest challenges yet, Easy Underwater Cave. First though, I just about had time to do a quick drop check in the South Cave, but after checking all 3 drops, I returned once more disappointed and empty-handed, with still no raptor blueprint in sight. Without being able to put it off anymore, my water taxi driven by Owen arrived and we set off together to do Easy Underwater Cave. With a ton of scuba crafted and a lot of chairs also so we can regain our stamina underwater, we've dived down into the depths. Now, previously this cave on Ark Survival Evolved hadn't been too bad, as if you leveled oxygen it would improve your speed underwater and you could basically zoom past every hostile in this cave with ease, even those pesky eels. In ASA, this feature has now been removed, and with increased cave spawns, it poised to be an incredibly difficult task for us. A task which wasn't helped by the rather unfortunate spawns we experienced not far inside the cave.
Oh, do you see that?
What is it?
A yellow drop.
Cheeky yellow drop. Oh, I don't take what's in it. I got to show. Owen! Oh, Owen! Owen! Run!
You... Oh!
Oh my
I thought you shouted at me to not take it.
Oh, it's so Joe over. It's dead. I'm dead.
When we began to do this cave, we were under the impression that with flippers on, we could just about outswim the eels. This clearly was not the case. So now that we knew this, we had to find a way to get past them.
Okay, so is one of us going to try and kite?
I'm just going to try and hug like that offside, see if I can get past.
There's no way those eels don't aggro. Thanks so much for the follow, by the way.
I can't even see them. Oh, they're aggroed on me.
Aggroed?
They're swinging backwards.
They're running away from me?
They're just at the bottom. Okay, they're not aggroed. Just stay high. You can get past.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. The sharks are there.
I see another drop.
Screw the drops.
Mate, the drop's gonna have a shotgun.
Just get to land.
There's nothing now. I'm getting the drop.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, there's a shark on me.
Oh, I shouldn't have got that drop. It was terrible.
I told you. Did we go up the... is the land bit coming up? Are there any creatures here?
I don't think so.
Okay. After successfully getting past the eels, we were now 2 sections away from the artifact. However, this was generally where the spawns started to get a bit out of control, with a high-level mosasaur usually present in the next room, along with a ton of sharks, and of course, the dreaded eels.
There's always eels at this section.
Yeah. If we can get past this section, I feel we'll be in... Can you see any?
See shark.
Sharks.
See?
We can deal with sharks. Eels are the problem, and maybe a big fat moser as well, if we see one of them. Yep, see the sharks. Lots of sharks.
A lot, yeah. I'm not seeing any.
I'm going...
Well, that's a moser.
Oh, moser. I see moser. Are we going straight for land? Oh, there's so many eels!
Oh!
Where did they come from?
What?
Once again though, never mind the moser, it was the eels that proved to be the problem. Owen and I tried again multiple times to get further into this cave. At one point, Owen brought down an oxygen trike to try and deal with the mobs. With cryos, this might have actually been quite an effective method, as the trike did quite a good job, but due to it having to swim from all the way down from the top of the cave to the bottom, it ran out of oxygen and stamina far too quickly, and ended up drowning before being too much use. Nevertheless, we did keep on trying, and I did actually have a bit of luck on this run here. Hugging the top of the room, the eels didn't aggro on me, and despite having an alpha megalodon aggroed on me, I was able to just about make it to land. From here, I followed the path round and reached this room where the artifact is located.
Eels.
Oh, there's eels and there's sharks. I have... Ah, what the... Okay, I have 50 HP. I have, Lou. I've watched both of those Meg films. They're both absolutely terrible. At the same time... Wait, just watch my stream. Watch my stream. However, things didn't quite go to plan, as I was killed through the mesh by an eel. $60 game, by the way. And the next half an hour was just pure carnage. Yeah, this room is, guys, since the Rampy masterclass of pulling all the megalodons away.
But if that moser is knocked down... Knocked out. What knocked it out?
He's not knocked down! Hey? Ow!
Yeah, you've made friends with a moser. Oh, no, you haven't.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
At least take it somewhere so I can get out.
Oh! Oh! I've literally only have one grapple. Am I going to have to meet up with you and like steal one of your grapples?
I've only got 2.
Yeah, that might be what I need. Oh no.
Then how do we get out?
Oh, screw it. I'm going in. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
No, don't go in the boat. I swear to God, if you miss.
Oh, it's an eel! Go in!
Why did you go in the water straight away and not run round?
I didn't. After almost tasting the artifact, Owen and I completely ran out of both gear and time for that day, so I returned to base to cry into my wooden foundations. I became even more miserable when I returned to mutation hunting and spent an hour shooting baby raptors in the head with my crossbow as they were all useless. However, if there was one thing that could lift my mood, it was a visit to South 2 Cave, where finally, on day 72, we found ourselves a raptor blueprint. As great as this blueprint was, it did present me with another problem. It was incredibly expensive to make, especially hide-wise. Had I had a good dino to harvest hide on, perhaps it wouldn't have been that bad. But I didn't. So I decided to make one of these ridiculous Ascendant stone hatchets blueprints that I'd also got in the South 2 cave to test out how much hide I could get and get ahead on the hide farming, as I would need to bring 10 raptors into the boss fights that we had planned for the end of this 100 days. Results were pretty promising, and it was probably the best option I had to farm hide. About 3 Brontos would equal to 1 saddle, so it could have been worse. On day 73, Owen and I had to return to Easy Cave once more. Things got off to a fantastic start when an alpha shark spawned outside the cave and insisted on following us along for the journey. Like I mentioned earlier though, you can thankfully actually outswim these things, so it wasn't too much of a problem. One thing that we had learned from our previous runs was the importance of bringing grapples for this middle section. There were far too many eels, sharks and an angry mosasaur which wanted to kill me, so it was the only way to do this room at this point. We grappled across the room and then got ourselves into the artifact room, where we plunged into the depths. We quickly realised though that this artifact was heavily guarded, so I grappled my way out of the water and attempted to place down some sleeping bags, only to get meshed by eels once more. After making our way painstakingly back into the cave, we made sure to place some bags before going into the water once more. This time we opted to do multiple sacrifice runs. This was where we jumped into the water with just our flippers, knowing that we were going to die, but in an attempt to bring those eels away from the artifacts. This actually worked pretty well, and after a few suicide runs, we finally had a somewhat clear pathway to the artifact. The stage was set, and I took a deep breath before jumping into the water, putting my flippers on just as I hit it. Reaching the artifact, there was a Megalodon who appeared to be stuck, but certainly wanted me dead. Narrowly avoiding the stuck Megalodon, I got my way back to land as quickly as possible, where I met up with Owen, who had been kindly aggroing the attention of the very last eel in this pool. We still would have to get out of the midsection of this cave though, and we were left with what we called one grapple and a dream. I used my grapple to get over a couple of Megalodons, and then made my way through the cesspit of sharks, including the alpha, dodging and weaving between them all. I was followed closely by another alpha Megalodon, the same one we had kited into the cave earlier, but leaving Owen to die in return for his stuff, I made a break for the entrance, and even had time to stop for a nice stamina break. As I swam out the entrance of the cave, one thought crossed my mind. How on earth are we going to do hard cave? But that sounds like a problem for the 200 days. Returning to base once more, we had now retrieved 4 out of the 6 artifacts we needed, but the hardest one was now out of the way. We wanted to take down the Broodmother and Megapithecus in this first 100 days with the view to ascending in a sequel video, and we were now on our way to doing this. But first off, I would have to breed the boss raptors. 3 mutations total, 2 in melee and 1 in HP. Quite frankly, it was an absolute joke, and I would need far better in the final stages of this map. However, with the Ascendant Saddle blueprint, I was hopeful that it should be just about enough to take on the first 2 bosses. We also did grab ourselves another health mute while breeding those boss raptors, so that will come in handy for the 200 days. One important thing that I had to remember to do when breeding these raptors was to properly imprint them. Unfortunately, some of these raptors were rather picky eaters, and we had absolutely no room for picky eaters amongst our death squad, so I murdered them. With 10 boss raptors successfully grown up and beginning to heal, I set off to the artifact of the Clever Cave, found near the volcano. This cave was absolute chaos, especially as I decided to try and go for the whole run in, grab the artifact and then try run out strategy, all while contracting mega rabies and half the cave trying to drown me in the water section next to the artifact. This dismount to try and grab it was completely mental, but somehow it did actually work out. And after getting out of the water, I juked to hordes of wild dinos that were chasing me and found my way out of the cave without too much issues. Next up was Pack Cave, a cave that had given me significant problems in the very first Raptors 100 days. This time, however, I came prepared to help this cave a bit more of a breeze. After entering the initial section, I found one of Owen's trikes, which I immediately had to take out all the wild creatures that were following me, thank you for your service, Master Strike, and then place some sleeping bags down. The main room of this cave was oddly fairly empty for once, but I was pretty sure the water tunnels leading to the artifact would be full of Sarcos. Luckily, there is another way that you can actually grab this artifact, which is by grappling up to the ledge which leads directly to it. However, for some reason, none of my grapples seemed to snap to the ceiling, and I soon found myself having to spam jump on my character, all while naked as an Arthroplore had broken my armour, to try and get up. Remarkably, it did actually work, so I guess you can make it up here to the artifacts of the pack without actually using grapples. With all the artifacts now retrieved, I spent a fair few days gathering the stuff I needed to make the Raptor saddles. I then placed a ton of storage boxes on my raft, filled them with Hider Fiber, and took a Mind Wipe tonic, putting all my points into crafting skill. This, of course, allowed me to craft the Raptor saddles and get a little bit of a bonus crafting bonus, and this one came out with a nice 33%, bringing the armour up to 217. Unfortunately, when we finished crafting, we didn't actually get too many other good rolls on these saddles, but these would still do a fantastic job of protecting the Raptors. With the Raptors raised, the saddles made, there was only one big job left to do: which was to level them. Quite a few had already generated a lot of passive XP, but I leveled the rest of them by the way we normally do over here on the Rampy channel by slaughtering innocent baby raptors. That juicy XP tasted so good. I leveled the raptors up to about 10k HP and then any remaining points into melee, with most sitting at about 550% melee. It wasn't great at all, but I hoped it would be just about enough. Before I knew it, it was day 95, and it was go time. Before I could take on the bosses, I cooked up some meat for the fights, grabbed my artifacts from the storage box, and repaired some of my hide armor that would help to keep me warm, as the monkey boss fight arena can get pretty cold. All ready to do the fight now, while my water taxi was on its way, I named the raptors after members of my Twitch chat, which is your guys' final reminder to come on over and follow me on Twitch, so that you can see me do these challenges live. After doing that, Owen and his raft of trikes arrived, although it did appear that one of his trikes was clearly getting vectored, as it was floating up in the sky. He did come crashing back down to earth eventually, and off we set to Red Obelisk, where I quickly unloaded all the raptors from the raft and brought them to the ob. Owen took a lot longer than that though, as his trikes were a little on the slower side. But eventually we were all set to start our first boss. We opted for the Gamma Broodmother first, as we considered this to probably be the easier of the two fights, so let's see how we did.
Is it up? It's up.
Yeah, it's
okay.
up.
Oh,
Right.
where's Low Trap?
Get it.
I'm a bit stuck.
My boys are in.
Mine are about to be.
Go on, boys. Go on.
Yes! Go Raptors, go!
Hit it. They're not hitting
Go
it.
Raptors!
Mate, they're not hitting it.
What do you mean they're not hitting it?
Now they are. Now they are.
It's alright, the Raptors are in. Oh, look at the damage. The Raptors are actually doing good damage. 200 damage on the Raptors. Oh no, maybe more like 85. Are my
What
Raptors
damage are
not
you
hit?
taking?
I don't know. I don't know if my Raptors are not hitting it.
I'm not sure my trikes are.
No, I can see loads of 200 damage.
Now they are.
Right, hang on. I need to bring the Raptors round the back, Owen.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you're seeing the numbers my trikes are taking, but I'm seeing some take 1 damage.
1 damage.
I'm seeing 6 and 1.
Go Raptors, go! Alright, Raptors appear to be now doing damage, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's good levels.
I just realised an issue with my trikes. Some of them might get encumbered really quickly.
This boss fight's taken us a bit longer than I thought, to be fair. I think the health should be okay. We're just tanking the spiders at the back. That's the issue. Okay, yeah. I mean, this is an easy dub.
Oh, don't speak too soon.
Nah, it's an easy dub. It's an easy dub. My Raptors have lost a bit of health, I think, but nothing too crazy.
The trike I'm on, I've only lost 1,000 health.
I've lost 2,000 on the Raptor I'm on. Owen is not carrying Rampy. Do not believe such words.
The Broodmother went down without too much of a problem at all, only losing about 3 to 4k health maximum on the Raptors. I looted the supply drop, which spawns, and that gives you a measly 20 element from the Gamma Brood. At the obelisk, we had to spend about a half a day or so feeding the Raptors back up to strength and waiting for Owen's trikes to heal up passively, but we were soon ready to take on the Megapithecus.
Ready.
You ready to go?
Yep.
Alright, monkey time. I need to get on low trap. Mate, these Raptors and trikes are all going to be stuck in there as soon as we get in there. So I'm going to go and kite him, yeah?
Yeah, you bring them over.
Sure, no problem. If we get in there and we see ourselves freezing straight away, trouble. I'm cold, we're not freezing.
I'm not. I'm normal.
You're not even... Right, thank you. Yep, you get my trap. Where is low trap the Raptor?
Yeah, sure.
Right, I'm just going to go and show the monkey my ascendant long neck and see what he thinks of that. Where are you, Mr. Monkey? Oh. Ready, ready. Bang! He's not happy. He's not a happy man. Or a happy monkey.
He's going to be even less happier when he sees my trikes.
What are you hitting him with?
A shotgun. How much damage did they do?
Oh, Raptors, Raptors, no,
Get him,
Raptors, Raptors, no. All right, Let's go, Raptors. We're going round the back. Get in, Raptors.
My trike.
Uh-oh. This might be a bit more problem.
Whoa, look at my damage. I'm seeing 1,000.
Why are you only taking like 1 damage? Go on, Raptors. Oh, wow, we're kind of melting him.
Yeah, it does do knockback to my trikes, though.
Did I just see 1,000 damage?
Yeah, that's from my trike.
What, you're doing 1,000 damage to him?
No, I think... Oh, I just got smashed. No, I think that's a headshot onto one of the monkeys. The small ones.
Oh, yeah, okay. The Raptors
Why
are
have
looking
you lost
at...
on that?
No, they're looking a tad bloody, but a lot less bloody than him. They're looking good, actually, you know. He does about 105 damage, I think, when he hits the Raptors. He does 8 damage to your trikes. Oh, this is just crazy. You might have just found the meta.
Yeah. Bro, imagine max mutated trikes.
I'm in there for the final hit. No, your trikes are blocking me off.
Let's go.
Easy stuff.
If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to show some support by leaving a like on the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. If you'd like to see a direct follow on to this video where we attempt to ascend the island, beating the dragon, tech cave and everything else, don't forget to leave a comment so that I know. I've got plenty of content coming up in the next few weeks for the channel, so I look forward to seeing you guys all then. As always, everyone, have a fantastic rest of your day, look after yourself and stay safe. Bye bye for now.
Baby, you gotta let go. The drugs that you're taking